So, Twisted Nerve, as we mentioned before, is one of those British films that in this country just kind of, until recently, it just got re-released on DVD.
Oh, really?
You just couldn't get hold of it. And I'd never seen it. It was very rarely on network TV. And I knew I was going to meet her, and I was a big fan of her anyway. And because you'd always said about Twisted Nerve, I thought, I'm gonna track it down.
And, you know, by the way, the only reason... I remember when Twisted Nerve came out briefly when I was a little kid. I have a memory of it, and I had a trailer for it in a collection of horror film trailers that my video archives had for a long time, which was really kind of a cool trailer. But then I never saw it on video or on TV. I only got it because it was one of the prints I got my first year of collecting prints.
Right,
and it's even
right.
a pink print at that. And the film is still magnificent. I do a film festival in Austin where I take about 30 of my film prints over, not movies, my movies, but collection, show other movies. And to this day, I've been doing that for over 10 years now. Twisted Nerve was one of the biggest hits I ever showed at Austin. I mean, literally, people from the Austin Film Society go, is that movie considered a classic? Is that considered like one of the great thrillers of all time? Because it is. Where is its place in cinema history? And I go, nowhere.
I know, and especially in this country, nobody even really knows about it because it kind of like, it just, you know, it was interesting in the same way that kind of like sort of, you know, Hitchcock got derided a little bit after Psycho. Like, Michael Powell and the Bolting brothers after Peeping Tom and Twisted Nerve really, like, sort of like, you know, in Michael Powell's case, pretty much people said that was the end of his career after Peeping Tom.
Yeah.
And the Bolting brothers, like, did Twisted Nerve, and it was equally sort of considered, like, you know, almost like sort of like close to, not, it was pornographic, but it was like sort of with the kind of the press over here was like, what the hell are they making these sleazy horror films for?
Right, exactly. And, you know, like, you know, a country that, like, puts, you know, good taste before all others, all right? You know, here's a movie that's just going fly in the face of that.
Yeah. So anyway, so I tracked down a copy of Twisted Nerve from one of those disreputable kind of like sort of laserdisc bootleggy places. I would say on record, I would never suggest doing that unless you really can't get hold of the film, which I couldn't.
Which is the case for Twisted. I say go ahead and do that anytime you want if you can get hold of it.
If you can't get hold of it anywhere else.
I wouldn't have any of the Shaw Brother movies I would have if I didn't have the bootlegs.
The only other one that I've got like that is the Super Cops, which we'll come back to another time. But anyway, so I watched Twisted Nerve and I fucking loved it, and it was great, and it was just really, and you know, even just down to kind of like just anytime you see one of those kind of like genre films filmed in the late 60s, just the location work is just amazing and just mind-blowing to see. You know, Peeping Tom, like, we used to be like where I edited and stuff, where I edited the first series of Spaced. Around the corner from that is the pub where the first murder in Peeping Tom happens.
And again, just to highlight what we were talking about earlier, again, you know, Twisted Nerve takes place in England. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
All right? They're just walking all over England and everything. Again, not a thing. There's not a big deal about the movie, actually, but it's a very big deal about the movie when you watch it. But, you know, it's not, doesn't have to be British per se. It's just a good thriller.